Hi, everybody. It's Victoria Hernandez here with Kick the Concrete. Today we have Richie Reseda with us. How's it going, Richie?
What's up? I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, very good, thank you. So we're here to talk mostly about Songs from the Hole, the film and EP that the film was out on Netflix, and your production company Question Culture is a part of that. What does that mean to just have your name, your logo on a Netflix project?
I'm very proud. We've come a long, long, long way. Founded Question Culture in prison. And this is the second project we started working on, Songs from the Hole. It's been a 10-year project. Um, I'm really proud.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just a big moment, very affirming.
Yeah, it's affirming for me and for our whole team. We have such an incredible team, and we've been working at this for so long. I'm glad people are going to be able to see it.
The film and project tells the story of JJ 88. And how did you first connect with him? I think I heard you connected with him in prison. And what just drew you to each other to that you knew you would work well collaboratively, creatively?
Our homie Talib, the student, introduced us. He was trying to put together a group of poets, so we met on like a poetry tip. But I I was looking for an artist like 88. I was looking for somebody who I knew I would meet. I knew who they would be when I met them. I was looking for somebody better than me. I was looking for somebody who could really rap. I was looking for somebody who could tell the stories of the streets without romanticizing them or judging them in a way that like encourages all to be more introspective. And maybe I didn't have that language at the time, but that's what I was looking for, and I found that in 88. And he could sing, and he could play instruments. So we had a great time making the Songs from the Whole EP, the original version of it, in prison.
Hearing some of the music, like you said, he's a storyteller, he's melodic, and you kind of touched on it already, but how did he even inspire you as an artist?
So many ways. I mean, 88's story, I got to know his story through making the EP with him. The EP is autobiographical in and of itself. So I really got to know him through the process of hearing this music that he obviously wrote in the hole a year before we met. Y'all will get to see more of how that all unfolded in the film. But when he got out the hole, that's when we met. And as I got to know his story and just how talented he was and his relationship to his story, I was really inspired to share that. It felt like an important story to share with the world.
In the film, he does talk about kind of being discouraged and like not really sure how to use his gifts. Like, how were you able to maybe encourage
I
him?
mean, I met 88, him having 40 years to life. So there were days where, he had it, and there are days where he didn't. There's days where he was extremely discouraged. And I had a lot of time, but I didn't have life. I had 10 years in prison. And of all my friends, I had the least amount of time. So in a lot of ways, it's easier for me to have hope, even as somebody with 10 years and two strikes. I had a set time to go home in a way where 88 and many of our friends didn't. Um, I just knew, and I feel like he knew, and we all knew one day he would be home. We just didn't know when. So when people would ask, when is 88 coming home? We would always say, when we get him out. And I was committed to that. And I knew that part of having a date, having a release date meant staying committed to getting my friends free even when they were low.
There's moments where it's saying each person has to kind of find their own healing. How has that been part of your story, and how have you been able to find healing through different, maybe through music or through your journey and your creativity?
Yeah, I understand healing to be the process of putting back together the pieces of ourself, our communities, and the world that hurt to come together. Healing is like the process of building integrity. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna go get a massage, and keep living in a world that's terrible to people. It's like, how do I treat myself in a way that's going to help me, um, rebuild my integrity and the community's integrity and the world's integrity. So the way that I do that is I have a group of people, it's 4 other dudes who I meet with once a month. We also have a group chat, and I have a series of commitments, commitments to my mental and physical health, commitments to my spiritual practice, to my boundaries, to healing my relationships, um, commitments to my honesty, that I make to myself and I make to them. And we talk about those things every month. And those are kind of the people who hold me accountable to putting myself back together in a way that also puts the community back together, and in the long run, the world back together.
None of us, as much as we might think we're individuals, we are individuals, but like everything is so communal. That's maybe why things like the whole are so terrible, because we're meant to
Right.
be in community and like heal in community and live in community.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, we're in this culture, we're taught so much to think of ourselves as individuals, but I'm actually like billions of living things that are getting their needs met in a way that also gets my needs met. And as a human, I'm so smart, I could then choose to just get my needs met in a way that says, damn everybody else. But I can also choose to get my needs met in a way that gets the community's needs met and the world's needs met. And that's the practice of integrity. And that is what I hope to spread by making this film and making this music. We get to see, a moment of integrity being practiced against all odds. I won't give away the movie, but that's what this film is about to me, and why I felt like it was worth investing the last 10 years of my life to get it in front of as many people as possible.
And you said, 10 years, that's a long time. I think we're about the same age, but that's a commitment, like why just what did it feel long in the process? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
I've I've been so many versions of myself over
Mhm.
the course of making this film. I started working on this film in my early 20s. Started working on this music, and then what became this film in my early 20s. I've been an incarcerated person. I've just been so many versions of myself over the course of this project, but this project has remained constant. My commitment to this project is my commitment to spreading integrity. And now we go and see, if it hits with the people.
I'll joke, like I feel like I've lived 8 lives already, or like, because I think just
Right.
in those 20s are such a, we're figuring things out and we're like, yeah.
100%.
And you touched a little bit on how you value structure, and on your website, I think it said you gave a little bit of your morning routine, like you wake up, pray, water my plants, work out. And that just kind of spoke to me as like how structure is important, and but why is that important to you to have that routine?
That's what supports me. Like, having a routine supports me personally, in just doing everything that I need to do to be the version of myself I need to be, to best honor myself and all the people who I'm going to come in contact with.
That is something that I'm working on for myself, is being more disciplined in that routine.
Mm.
Yeah.
Same. The
Hmm.
morning is easier to me than the night. By nighttime, sometimes I'd be too tired and I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing all this stuff. But I I keep track of it, and at the end of every year, I mean, there is a time when week by week, like when I was in prison, the way I started building discipline is, my first commitment to myself is I'm just going to work out 5 days a week. And I had a notebook and I would just check it off. Then I was like, I'm going to work out and study Spanish, and I would check off each one. Then it was like, I'm work out, study Spanish, read my book. Then I added school to the mix. Then different programs I was involved with, different like books I was reading. So I would review it every week at the end of the week on Sundays, and then review it at the end of the year, and I could flip through and see how much I kept my commitments to myself. That supported me a lot. Like, that kind of relationship with myself is what's made it possible for me to start a management and production cooperative in prison and carry it out to here, where we have a major film out and a EP out. Yeah, those kind of practices supported me a lot.
I think as an entrepreneur, as if we part of ownership is that structure is almost even more important, because we don't have a boss telling us
Yep.
to do. So
Yep. That's the
yeah.
trade-off of entrepreneurship for sure. It's like, people be like, man, you're so lucky you don't have a boss. And I'm like, I mean, the audience is my boss. The culture is my boss. How much work needs to be done is my boss. That's what I am accountable to. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, I can't just be like, I'm not gonna come today and somebody else will do it. It's like I gotta be here until it's done.
You can't 9 to 5. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Right.
And in regards to music, who are some of your influences?
Some of my biggest inspirations to get into music were and are Prince,
Mm.
Kanye. As far as discipline is concerned and making an excellent product, Beyonce. Um, Pharrell was somebody who I grew up looking up to a lot. I would say now I've been really influenced by Pink Panthers. That's my goat.
Okay.
Pink Panthers is the goat as a producer. I love her production so much. That's like the artist who I'm probably most excited about right now. Current influences would be like Pink Panthers, Baby Keem, um, Amare, who just dropped a project.
Mm.
Yeah,
Very cool. Yeah, Pink Panthers is everywhere. Like her
yeah.
songs are so infectious, and the EP has some jazz and some boom
Mhm.
bap. And was the what was the vision sonically?
For this EP, I was like 88, 88 is a church boy, so he
Mhm.
wanted it to feel soulful and he wanted it to feel like church. So I have for all the artists that I work with, I put together like playlists of inspo. So a lot of the inspiration for songs from the whole, hold on, I'm pulling up my playlist right now.
Yeah.
We were listening to, and I say we because we did the original in prison, which so there was the inspiration for when we made it in prison. We were listening to a lot of To Pimp a Butterfly. We were listening to D'Angelo. We were listening to Lemonade by Beyonce. Old music like Stevie Wonder. And then when we redid it, we reproduced the album with more producers, so Dylan Wiggins as well as Tyreek and Garfield from Twin Towers. And we were listening to stuff like real musical stuff like Toro y Moi, Thundercat. We're like you mentioned the boom bap elements. We were listening to Atmosphere, um, Tribe Called Quest, and then we were just listening to like old church music all the way through. Like classic gospel was such an inspiration for this. I remember we did one of the tracks we did with Dylan, Most Hunted. Um, the way that we did or for Most Hunted 2, I liked the big drum sound from old Gnarls Barkley song called Just a Thought, that just had these chaotic, huge like crashes and cymbals. And Dylan was pulling from that Daytona Pusha T album that Kanye produced.
Yeah, I love
Mhm.
when projects bridge history of music with modern freshness, and that's really neat. You can feel that too, I think, in the music. The
Thank you. We
oh,
were really going for that. Like we got all live musicians. Those are real horns
okay,
from actually that band, All for One Brass Band. They're from New Orleans. Shout
cool.
out to New Orleans. So All for One Brass Band did the horns on the album. But we also got like John Luca Gibbons on sax, Cesar Hernandez on trumpet, Nisa Strings on the upright bass. Bringing in upright bass is also what makes it feel like older. We created a choir here where we had 88 Sister Renisha, Indigo Mateo, his wife, who's an artist in her own right, Lalo Jimenez, me, the twins, 88. We like created a choir right here in this room for Overwhelmed. Yeah, Jace on keys. We were just like trying to create the feeling of real instruments in the church. We wanted you to feel the history of Black music in this film that is also so much. The subject matter of the film is also connected to Black American history, that is told through the music, and the story is told through the music. So it felt important that it sounded and felt like in the sounds you can feel the trajectory from like chattel slavery to today to the modern punishment industry.
Yeah, no, that's again just the human touch of it is really powerful.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I mean, we kept all the vocals from prison, and
Okay.
then we redid the beats with these new producers and with live musicians to give it that more organic in the room feel.
Are you familiar with Zaytoven, the trap?
Yeah,
Okay.
of
There's
course.
a song
Usher's cousin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I know that's important to him too, is just like he plays the piano because he wants to put that soul into that. So that just
Yep.
makes me think.
Yeah. Similarly, like on Overwhelmed, I did the pianos on Overwhelmed. I had originally wrote that piano piece when I was like 14. And I
Oh,
remember I showed it to my dad, and my dad said, "This sounds like it could be in a movie." Um, and it's cool because now it is.
it's in a movie. That is beautiful. Yeah. You mentioned, he's a church boy and you wove in the gospel elements. And a lot of the film does discuss faith and how kind of that was what offered hope and was a vessel for forgiveness. But how has spirituality and faith been a part of your journey?
My spiritual practice is my integrity practice.
Hmm.
My spiritual practice is how I live in integrity with my needs, the needs of the community, and the needs of the earth. Like that is to me how you can measure my spirituality and how I treat myself and others and the earth. And this film is the biggest tool that I've worked towards to spread that practice. So this film has been spiritual for me. A lot of spiritual things took place within the making of this film. One of the big moments in the film, I found this out by making the film, but one of the big moments in the film took place on my birthday before I even knew 88.
Oh,
Um, and we started production on these music videos on my birthday too. And like our lead actor, Devonte Hoy, we hired him based on the strength of his acting. I didn't know him. We found him through like a traditional way of finding actors. It turns out we were in prison with his brother. We found that out on location. So there's just so many things over the course of creating this film that clearly showed like spirit was with us, and that we were doing what we were supposed to do by making it.
yeah. What serendipity? Like, that's not coincidence. Like,
Yeah,
all those details.
especially that many of them back to back.
Mhm.
And there's so many more that you just got to see the film to see it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or make sure we covered?
No, I mean, just to say that Songs from the Hole is now available on Netflix, and Songs from the Whole EP is streaming everywhere. You can buy the deluxe version that has the prison versions of the songs. You can buy the vinyl at questionculture.shop or on Even. And I would love to hear anybody who does go out of their way to watch it, to listen to it. It's an honor for us. This was a labor of love over 10 years, and you can find us at Songs from the Hole. Please let us know how it impacted you and your spiritual practice and your family and your community, because that's really what this is for.